comes. Hold on. 1 second. We're almost there. It's fantastic. It's a great time. It's wherever. Okay, I got to push that button. And then I got to push this button. And we will see what we will see. Hey, it's working. Okay, hold on. I'm scooted over in this direction. Hi, everybody. Welcome. How are you? How was your Sunday? I spent a good deal of time tweaking my system, and hopefully it works. And you guys will let me know as we roll along in a way that will make me feel both better about the fact that I've been working so hard on this stuff and worse that I didn't solve all the problems. Not necessarily an abbreviated show today, but I do have to leave kind of on the nose at 5 wiggly 10 something like that my time, so that I can get prepped for my show tonight. I have to reposition the camera and some other stuff because I got a stand-up show that I'm doing, and I have a whole different background, and it's a lot. It's just a lot. And I got a live stand-up show to do tonight on, Zoom. And then I got a live-ish one on Wednesday, which I have to drive to LA for tomorrow night because I have some important paperwork to file Wednesday morning, which will take some time. And from the main room, that's Wednesday. That's right, 7:30 Pacific time is when the doors open there. So technically, they got it listed at 7 or something. I don't know if the other folks. No, I think doors are at 6. I'm confused. Anyway, the point is, follow what Can't Stop Lying wrote, because I don't know. But anyways, so show tonight and show on Wednesday. So it's a lot, and here I am, and hopefully everything sounds okay, and you guys can help me along the way today, especially. I have to confess something, though. I have a little confession to make. I'm aggravated in a way, in a special kind of a way, in the kind of aggravated that I get when I watch it's similar to how, like, watching Andrea Mitchell talk about the Afghanistan war and how getting out is bad. You know, that kind of where you're just kind of like, really? Really? Where all these people who've been talking us into staying all these years, and at the same time talking us out. We got to get out of there. I mean, this is the forgotten war. Why are we even there anymore? It's dangerous and stupid. And why are we there? And why are we there? Why are we there? Right? That's the whole thing. Until we start to leave, and then it's, oh my God, how could we leave? It's terrible. And then I start watching the kind of folks that are supposed to be on our side of the aisle. If there are even sides to the aisle anymore, are labels just labels? I mean, honestly. So watching Russell Brand and Marianne Williamson and a couple other people that are supposed to be kind of they're parked, not quite the fringe of it. They're not quite, Jimmy Dore TYT normally, one would think, although Marianne's live stream is sort of, her interviews are kind of like, and we have a history. I know the woman personally. And she's sort of like TYT if they had an astrologer. So anyways, I was watching these people, and they're supposed to be the ones saying, yeah, it's a good idea. We should, this is, America can't be the police. Well, we're not supposed to. Why are we in other countries bombing and in military industrial complex? And the biggest one of all of these is this military industrial complex bullshit, which, if you had a criticism about the military industrial complex controlling America's interests abroad, one would think that would entail staying in Afghanistan. Am I muffled and tinny? Does it sound okay? Or maybe I'm just far away, or does it sound okay? Hello? How are you? So I find this incredibly infuriating. The reverb's probably just going to be my room. It's just the sound of the echo. I have a slight echo. That's weird. I don't know why that would be. Let's see. Could it possibly be? Let's see what I sound like. Oh, that's the sound of the room. There's a little bit of repeatedness to it. I don't know. It kind of gives me a full kind of radio sound. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? All right. But in this process, I find it maddening. I mean, it's a lot. It's always annoying when people are like, we should get out, and then we start to get out, and we're like, we should stay in, we should stay. It's just so stupid. But the ones who are decrying the military-industrial complex BS are the most outlandish, and that's in so far as I've seen in the other stuff that I've watched. That's mainly Russell Brand and Marianne Williamson and to some degree TYT. But the entire premise is based on the idea that the military-industrial complex gets us into wars and makes us stay there just so they can make a profit. Well, that logic falls apart when you're arguing for getting out. It's absurd. You're watching on Twitch and you expect IMAX quality. I want it to be IMAX quality. I don't know what the hooty hoo is going on here. Maybe, just maybe. Let me try something, because I mean, we're always messing around. We're not afraid. It's all good. Let's see. We'll open this up. This might be doubled for a split second while I fix this, but we should be able to solve it. It should be this. And here we'll add that. And I don't know if that makes it worse or better. It seems like, oh, and I see, I get you. Okay. I think there should be, personally, let's see, a perhaps noise filter on there. Maybe that'll make all the difference. Let me try that. A little noise suppression axis going on. That's fun. And we'll do the thing in this kind of business. Hopefully takes out some of it. I don't know if it'll be better, but we'll let you know. Let me know. So there you go. Yes, there is a fan going because it's hot in this room. I apologize. That is the fan. I'll tell you what. I'll turn the fan off. I'll just slip way over here, grab the fan, and I'll just cook while I'm in here. I'll just, that'll be on me. That's just me. I'll just be cooking, and I'll just deal. There you go. Fan is gone. Just the two of us. All right. So this has been a horrifying aspect of this whole argument. Is not so much the obvious nonsense coming out of the right wing, and we're going to get to some of that today. We got some Diamond and Silk. We got some Dick Morris. We got some Dinesh D'Souza, who I found out is a descendant of one of, I think, India's biggest slave owners. That's fascinating. And he's got Sebastian Gorka on, two people who can tell us. And then, of course, Mike Lindell, has completely erased his 3-day debacle with his stunning performance at Trump's Alabama rally, where surprisingly they've seen a 167% spike in cases. Thanks, Rick. I do need the fan. Everybody needs fans. It's just a good thing. So, but I mean, because so much of the coverage is infuriating and frustrating and annoying, I think it's important that we have as much silly fun today as possible. Oh yes. That it is time for some baseline mockery and silliness. Oh, and I've got to, let's see, do I turn these down? Yes, so that I don't hear it 3 times in the thing. I hope. We will see what we will see. Let's see.
Know that I am very disturbed.
Well, that I believe. All right, so we can hear him okay. You guys can hear him okay. Diamond is very disturbed. That's Diamond, by the way, on that side in the yellow, and that's Silk. Just in case you don't know. And no one so far is responsible for having right out of the gate. But at some point, 5 eggs short of a dozen. Let's hit it.
5 eggs in a month.
I know.
Eat 2 eggs a day.
I know.
5 eggs.
5
eggs.
I know, it's 5 eggs. 5 eggs is a lot. It's not a lot for the month, obviously. Okay, all right, I get it. So, Diamond, Silk, just to clarify, just so we know, so no one's confused. Okay, here we go.
I want you to know that I am very disturbed.
We've known for quite some time, Diamond.
Disturb is not the word for
yeah.
me.
Well, I've used other words, but I don't know that you'd like them per se. I think everyone else would find them amusing, but then you might chuck 5 eggs at my house.
Puppet Jim Crow Joe says America is back, but it looked like he's turned his back on the Americans he left over there in Afghanistan.
Oh yeah, oh, it does it. Is this from his address? Are you going to play a piece?
Now this man keeps talking about he's building back better, but it looked like he's building back backwards.
That's right.
Because everything seemed to be going backwards.
Oh yeah, we're going back into Afghanistan. Is that what's happening?
And I'm beginning to think that the biggest threat to the United States of America is Jim Crow Joe. Come on.
See, I would certainly it's got to be Marxism and socialism, hasn't it? You know, like now that the gay rights ship has sailed.
I'm serious.
That's right.
I believe you're serious.
He's making America appear weak.
Oh yeah, how's that?
Everything that he touched is a disaster. And my question is, who's running America?
That's right.
Because
Well, if he's not running it, then how do you know everything he touches turns to
very un-American when you go and you hide into a basement like a coward and you don't stand with our ally.
That's right.
Huh? Is this old? Is this August 22nd, 2021?
That's right. You see that one?
Yes, they call him Jim Crow Joe.
His name should be named Crisis.
Yes, I agree. Jim Crow Joe just doesn't do it. I think Crisis Biden makes it, yeah.
Like everything that he's touched have turned into a crisis.
That's right.
Everything.
And any nonsense of you all
Yeah, because Afghanistan was going so well
trying to joke
these last 20 years.
throw Jim Crow Joe a lifeline or a life jacket. That ain't gonna save him.
No, it's not.
None of that's going to save him.
No. Even if I try.
Because we already see exactly who he is. That's what, when it comes to Afghanistan, he had no plan.
No?
His only plan of action was playing golf right there in Camp David.
That's right.
Golf? Golf. Oh, thanks.
Are stuck and stranded in Afghanistan.
Hype train.
And then he allowed the Taliban to take over the country.
That's right. And he loved.
Did he allow it? Are you guys going to read from the agreement from last year with the May 1st deadline? You're just going to pretend that doesn't exist? Do they even know? I think that's the question. Am I asking too much?
And the blame game.
That's right. Yeah. 20 years, trillions of dollars is spent.
And you want us to stay longer?
Handed everything, as far as I'm concerned, over to the Taliban, to these terrorists.
But you know, a lot of people.
Sorry. What would entail for us? What would it entail for us to not hand stuff over to the Taliban? You mean staying there forever? Right.
Say, that they voted for Jim Crow Joe because of his experience. And he's been in there for 48, 49. It feels like 100 years. Okay. But his experience tells him what? To leave the weaponry there and let the Taliban get the weaponry?
Well, where did his experience come from? A manual for dummies? I mean, where did
this is sharp criticism. It's tight. They worked on this. This is like watching jugglers at Cirque.
Where did it come from? Yeah. Leave the American citizen there and let the Taliban get the American citizens?
No, that's not what's happening. When was, again, this video was made yesterday, today?
Our military and leave everybody else there to fend for themselves while he's sitting up at a retreat at Camp David.
Is this what experience
Yes, this is what experiment gives you.
have taught? I mean, come on, you all think about this right here.
All right, I'm trying. I just don't know what you want me to think about. Oh, look at this terrible thing. Look at these men in these long white outfits with look at the guns in the sky or whatever.
People said that they voted for him because of his experience.
It's experiment. It's experiment.
What experience do this man have not to take and save American lives first?
Please cut to some video that makes this make sense.
Well,
don't get silk started.
But guess what, Phil? He finally came out of the base
Don't get silk started.
to say some things. Y'all take a look at this.
All right.
We plan for every contingency, but I always promise the American people that I will be straight with you. The truth is, this did unfold more quickly than we had anticipated.
Well, what did you anticipate, Joe? What?
well, 5 to 10 months at the outside, 3 months at the short end, 90 days at least to start bringing people out. But apparently May 2nd, there was something special about that date that Trump talked to them last year. And so they just started moving.
Ask for the friendly ghosts to go over there and to calm the waters.
Yeah, that's normally what happens. Casper the friendly ghost to go over there and calm the waters. There's no water. It's Afghanistan.
People in the game to sit and collect the weaponry that you left behind for the Taliban. Did you expect the patrol to patrol the borders of Afghanistan so that the Taliban couldn't get in? Did you? Oh, were you in?
No, I did not. I did not expect Paw Patrol to handle it. I didn't. Hold on a second. Hold on. I've got to, let's see. Do I turn this up on here? Yeah, I think that if I bring this down a little, does that do it? Yeah. Check 1, check 2, check 3, check 4. Does that sound all right? Does that sound better? Is it okay? I'm trying to figure out which one. There we go. I'll bring this back up. It'd be close. I just don't want to bring the audio way up. There we go.
On all of this right here. Yeah. Because I don't understand. How did the Taliban know that the American soldiers were leaving? Come on.
That's a great question. It might take me a long time to look it up, but I'll try, Diamond. I will. Let's see. How did the Taliban know that the America was leaving? I gotta do this. Let's see if my keyboard works. There we go. How did they know? How did they know that he was? How did they know they were leaving? What gave the Taliban the idea of a timetable for when America was leaving? Wherein, at what point did the Taliban think that Trump, while not meeting with the Afghan government, was meeting with them? And at what point, let's see, who was dealing with the Taliban in terms of, wait a minute, before signing an agreement. Okay, cool. So I mean, I don't know. I looked. I don't know how do they know? How could they know?
They just walk up in Afghanistan. Were they already there? Why did the president of Afghanistan? Why did he just automatically leave? Just leave.
Money and to save his life, I guess, and because he's a coward and he wasn't really a leader.
Soldiers leave.
What? Hold on. Why did whose soldiers leave? I have to jump this back over here.
Afghanistan. Why did he just automatically leave? Just leave. When did the soldiers leave?
When did the soldiers leave? They didn't leave. They're still there. They just put their guns down and either joined the Taliban or went back home to wherever they were from. There was 1,000, Afghan special forces that were going to hold one of the bases of the last stand, and they got they agreed to a ceasefire with the Taliban days ago, and then we flew them to safety. So, don't know.
How did the Taliban know that all of the American soldiers were gone?
That's right.
Well, they're not gone. They just knew there was a date by which they would be gone. Were you guys asleep through the Trump presidency?
Think about this thing, because some stuff is not adding up here.
I think it's not the equation that's the problem. I think you have missing elements in the formula, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of factors. You're not factoring in so much.
Ain't nothing adding up.
Yes, they do say Taliban's plural. It is a Taliban. I don't know what the pluralization of it. If it's if it's a cluster of Talibans, a murder of Talibans.
Ain't nothing adding up here. And when you look at everything, I'm looking at our borders.
Yeah.
How he have them wide open here in the United States.
Come on.
And how people have been crossing. We don't know who these people are.
Nope.
How do we know these people ain't terrorists right here?
Yeah, they might be the Taliban. That might be the Taliban. Especially those 8-year-olds. They look really suspect. That 11-year-old they found crying in the desert, he looked like Taliban to me. Honest to God. You bring him into this country, feed, inoculate, and school him for 20 years, help him get a good job and an education, give him citizenship, and one day he's going to want Sharia law in Branson, Missouri.
You know now, Jim Crow Joe and his administration, they were flying these people to different communities.
That's right.
Yeah, so they're probably flying them to Mexico, right?
We know that they're not trying to orchestrate nothing here in the United States of America.
Yeah, so how do we know the pilots that America is using to fly people, Afghans who are escaping the Taliban out of the country, know how to land a plane? What are they going to do? They're going to fly into Freedom Tower? They're going to hit, oh, God.
Because it looks like everything that happened starting on August the 15th is being orchestrated. And somebody knew something, and everybody want to sit around and act like they don't know nothing.
No, well, at least you guys don't sit around and act like you don't know anything. I'm glad. Yeah, I enjoy the fact that you sit around and act like you know something. I mean, you wouldn't have a show without it.
Where is Kamala? Well, I know that she finally came out, but she was right there when Joe made this decision to pull on out of Afghanistan.
Yeah,
she was right there, like the decision was right. Well, Kamala, you are a woman. You are a woman of color. You didn't know that these women would start being abused by the Taliban? Girls will start getting hurt.
What?
People will start being killed.
That's right.
I'm questioning even your judgment as a woman.
As a woman.
Yeah,
That's
because,
right.
I mean, a man would never make the decision to leave Afghanistan.
And then where's General Milley?
Where is he? Honestly.
Now I'm not talking about Millie Vanilli. I'm talking about General Milley.
Okay. Yeah, I was confused for a second. Thank you.
General
He was
Milley.
so stuck at and hung
White
on
race.
white
Huh?
race.
Yeah.
Where is he at? And what about that other one that looked like his name should be Cleophas? I'm talking about the one that be wearing that little hood, that mask, like he Darth Vader. Where is he at? Oh, I forgot he did come out and say something. Take a look at this.
You have the
Wait, Cleophas? Who's that? What?
capability to go out and kill
He's not wearing a mask, by the way. Is he supposed to?
Americans.
We don't have the capability to go out and collect up large numbers of people.
What do you mean you don't have the ability?
What you
All right.
I tell you what happened on January the 6th, you all had the capability to make a list, check your time, and go hunt down people. What do you mean you don't have the capability of getting the Americans back over here?
Well, no, they do have the ability to get the Americans back over here. They're just not going to fly like, aircraft carriers into the other side of Kabul and pick people up in a field or have mass military movement through the streets, because the Taliban aren't fighting mainly because there's not that kind of military thing standing up and, oh God.
The United States of America. That's right. What do you mean? I can't understand it. That's right. I don't understand that.
That I believe.
Help me. Because my heart is beating all over the place. I don't understand this.
Yeah, especially if we're supposed to be the land of the free and the home of the bay.
Yeah, you're host, land of the free and home of the bay. I want to get back to the home of the bay.
Greatest country on earth. And you want to tell me we don't have the capability?
What you mean we don't have the capability?
Yeah.
Well, without setting off another circumstance. We don't have the ability to just kind of roll in and do that without it starting, an offensive by other people amongst the Taliban or putting other soldiers in danger, and we don't need to. So they're doing other stuff because strategy.
You better pull all resources. That's right. You all better stop playing games. You need to pull all resources and make sure our American citizens get back over here to the United States.
That's right.
Because this is unacceptable. And I know Jim Crow Joe came out trying to do damage control, but I don't trust nothing that this man said.
But that's right. And if they was really concerned about American life, there's no way they would have did away with the contingencies and crisis response there. They wouldn't have did away with that. Okay?
Oh, so they totally ignored.
Which were?
They totally ignored that, and they did away with that particular
Yeah, which parts?
procedure. And see, what this was aimed at is providing
I know you guys are reading stuff. I mean, is this from Don Jr.'s notes?
and safe evacuations of Americans out of crisis zones. Okay, but what happened is back around June 11, the Biden State Department, they canceled this particular measures that could have helped Americans.
Or hurt Americans as well, I think.
So then they did this before everything. So that lets me know that something ain't right. Look, something smells fishy and it ain't tuna.
So it looks
Yes, it is not tuna. It is not tuna. I mean, there's really no fishing in Afghanistan at all.
all of this is being orchestrated and planned. And that's why he can go and sit down and do nothing.
And where's China at in all of this?
That's right.
I mean, finally, somebody's asking.
Yeah.
Thank
We
you,
had
John.
World War III. Is it something that you
Yes, this is World War III. We are getting out of World War III. We've been in the World War III for 20 years.
not telling us? But because the United States of America, because of Jim Crow Joe Biden, we are looking weak.
That's right.
We
Why?
look like that. We fell to terrorists here.
That's right.
Well, no, we're just leaving the country. That's up to them. I mean, their government, their military fell to it, and very quickly, which just proves that we were there for no other reason than to shore up another government. And at that point, I guess we add Diamond and Silk to the group that believes that Afghanistan should be the 51st state. And I disagree with you guys, but I respect your opinion.
Think of this.
I think, if I understand it.
If you have the Taliban blocking the pathway for Americans to get to the airport, guess what? You're holding them hostage.
Well, no, you would have to make demands for them to be allowed through. If you're just blocking the road, you could. All right.
That's the situation.
You see what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Think about this.
Listen. Because you know what? It's happening over there.
Uh-huh.
Do you know the same thing can jump off here?
Right here.
No, the same thing cannot jump off here.
You know the same thing can jump off here because we have an administration that we don't trust. They give out
Oh, so we've moved to the threat version. I was wondering when they would get there on the list. Now Diamond and Silk are threatening the rest of America that if the Taliban can pull this off in Afghanistan, they could do it right here because they don't trust the administration any more than the Taliban trusts, women getting an education.
information, and all they do is
Motrin.
and tell lies and think we're supposed to believe it. Stop gaslighting us.
That's
We
right.
see right through you, Jim Crow Joe. Y'all better get this together, or you know what?
What?
You need to resign.
That's
and
right.
don't y'all worry about Kamala. She can't even run a hot dog stand, much less the United States of America.
I don't know what the reference is to hot dog stand. Is that just your opinion of people who run hot dog stands, that they're kind of your example of low skilled workers? Because it's kind of an entrepreneurial thing. It takes a lot of work, and you got to push your store around. So I have a lot personally. I have a lot of respect for people who have a hot dog stand. It must be tough work in New York, especially considering all the Fox fans running around with COVID, passing out Delta to everybody while asking for extra onions and mustard. Now, which is great on a hot dog, don't get me wrong. But what's with the eggs? The eggs are because the scariest thing that has ever come out of the stories about Cuba to Diamond and Silk are, of course, that people only get 5 eggs a month.
5 eggs.
So they continually
5 eggs in a month.
If anybody goes in and brings up Cuba, they will go off on a rant about 5 eggs a month. It happens every time. Okay, let's continue. We're almost to the end of this. They've just been yelling nonstop. So
Nope.
Oh, all right. That was quick. Ex-Royal Marine refuses to leave Afghanistan with his staff. I didn't realize we had Royal Marines. Oh, we don't. That's right. That's a UK officer. And Newsmax wants you to think this is... All right. By the way, if we're looking for a more ridiculous take than Diamond and Silk. I think Dick Morris is the guy to give it to us. Now, Dick is still stuck in his library or at the public library in one section where they keep shushing him, I suppose. But he is under the impression that Trump will take office in 2024, and it's not even close. He's going to roll over Biden. It's going to be easy.
We're held today.
Largely, I suppose, because Biden will have done all the tough work that Trump was unable to do, like pass an infrastructure bill, get us out of Afghanistan, shit like that, pass comprehensive immigration reform, close Guantanamo, all those kind of things, which will happen during the first 4 years of the Biden administration, just letting you know. And yet, and so when Trump gets back in, he can just coast like he did after Obama.
It wouldn't even be close.
Yes, we understand that's your premise.
Now, for the first time ever in the matchup poll, Donald Trump holds a 6-point lead over Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Poll
by who?
Rasmussen reports.
Oh, by Rasmussen. By Rasmussen? Really? I would have thought Rasmussen, being Trump's favorite pollster, would have leaned another way. That's strange. Yes, it is. It is Buddy Hackett, actually. Long live Buddy Hackett.
They were back.
Who has passed away.
Trump over Biden.
Yes, or the Rasmussen poll. Yes. Oddly enough, at a time when Biden is at his lowest point and still higher than Trump ever got.
53 to 47. In fact, the Rasmussen poll has 12% of Biden's voters switching over to support Trump if the election were held today. Only 2% of Trump supporters leave him. So 1 out of 8 of the people who are crazy enough to vote for Joe Biden are now going to switch if the election was today to Donald Trump.
Uh-huh.
But the election isn't today.
No, it is not. It's definitely not today.
In 3.5 years. So what good is a poll now?
Right. I agree.
Well, think about it.
Okay. I'm thinking about Biden's still above 50% everywhere. I'm thinking that Rasmussen is a Trump-friendly pollster and the only one who would come up with something like this. None of the other ones would even point to this being a possibility. And also in the middle of doing something that Trump was unable to do.
What's going to improve with age?
Us being out of Afghanistan.
Certainly not Joe Biden. He's not like wine. His lapses aren't going to get better over the next 3 years.
And yours are?
Nor is Afghanistan.
No, Afghanistan's not going to get better. You know what it's going to get better for? American service people.
The next few months, the state of the Americans trapped there will be center stage.
Will it? So you're just hoping we leave some behind. Okay.
And then we can expect stories about what's going on with the brutal treatment of women by the horrible Taliban regime.
Sure. And by the same stories we were told that got us in and kept us in. By the way, are there other countries, Dick, that treat women poorly that you would recommend we invade and set up 3 bases in? Which countries that treat women badly like the Taliban do should we not set up 3 military bases in? We can't, America doesn't have the capability of dealing with terrorist cells, for example, without having bases inside countries. It's fascinating that you would shit on America like that, Dick.
Finally, we'll witness the hideous spectacle of Afghan terrorism unleashed anew on the world. Nor is the southern border going to get any better.
Well, no, it's going to have all these Afghans pouring across it from the Taliban, who, obviously make a deal with Mexico and China.
Only this week, Biden has issued an order circumventing immigration court judges and providing that ICE officers on their own will decide the asylum status of those who want to come here. Everyone knows they'll be more lenient than the judges would be.
No, ICE. No one thinks ICE offices will be more lenient than immigration judges have been. Honest to God, who would come to that conclusion?
And more refugees will be admitted into our country. That means that we'll be issued an engraved invitation to literally millions of refugees to come here. Instead of Donald...
Well, no, not a literally engraved invitation. I mean, that's expensive. I mean, literally?
Trump's wall. there'll be Joe Biden's open door. And who else is
Instead of Trump's wall, there'll be Joe Biden's open door, because apparently the wall stopped working.
going to come through that open door?
All right, you're boring me. I'd love to stick with you, Dick, but this is dull. We have 2 from Dinesh D'Souza, and I honestly wish I cared, but I want to go to Mike Lindell first. I can't. I got limited time today. I don't need to like stick with Dick Morris. It's just embarrassing. It's just annoying. Oh God! At least Dick. At least Diamond and Silk had the decency to just scream for 7 minutes. Holy hell. All right. But Mike Lindell, Trump talks woke culture at weekend rally, and then Mike Lindell is the guest on John Bachman Now. Yeah, here we go.
Anyone except for maybe Newsmax and a couple other outlets that are willing to take these speeches live. An address before 60,000 people of a former president.
60,000 people. That number has gone down since I think Trump said it was 120. You've cut it in half? That's rude.
Is a newsworthy event, you would think.
No, I wouldn't. Why would I think that? Why would anyone think that? Seriously. Like how many people knew that there was a big concert? Hold on, let me open this up because this was kind of spectacular. There was because of the hurricane. Let me find this, whatever. Let's see. New York, Barry Manilow. Oh, it's all you got to look up. There was let me find the actual one. So he was at the We Love We Love New York City, the homecoming concert. And in the middle of him singing Can't Smile Without You, they pulled the plug because of Hurricane Henry. Now, I mean, if you live in the New York area, you probably knew this was going on. I did not necessarily, but the footage of it, let's see if they, I don't know what the turnout was like, but this is him. He's like, I can't smile without you. Da, da, da. And then in the middle of it, there's a dude. You can see him walk up. Watch the guy over here. He comes in this side and starts telling the drummer to stop drumming. There's all kinds of shit. Oh, is that Ricky Minor? While they're singing the song. Oh, wait for it. Dude, there he is. See this guy right here? See that guy? Watch him. He walks out to the drummer. He's like, get that. No. Look at this big... I'm just saying, Trump, you didn't have, I mean, that. Big crowd there, middle Central Park, and they're like, it's lightning, fuck off, and everybody buzzes off, whatever, So, this was, the only thing similar between this and Trump's event was both were free, but everybody goes, there you go. And you didn't even get to finish hearing Can't Smile Without You. You would think that was the only reason that became a newsworthy event nationwide, quite frankly, was because lightning drove everyone away. But there's, 60,000 people, and half of whom were the people who deadhead to all of his events.
Right. And there was my own platform, frankspeech.com. There was...
Yeah, thank God for that.
Newsmax, the great OAN. All of these...
The great OAN. They really do hold it together.
Like I said, I opened it with, where is Fox? Fox has done more damage to our country, and I'll say it straight out. Whether it's the election, whether it's talking about vaccines, whatever you want to talk about.
Yes, by Fox promoting vaccines as strongly as they do.
Stays away from those things, and we don't know why. They turned on our country like no other outlet's ever done. And
see, you can't just back out on me like that. If you're going to set up an analogy, you got to stick to it. They've turned down our country like a third-rate prom date with a big sore on her lip. Something. Give us. Come on, swing for the fences. Not like they've turned it down like nobody's ever turned it down before. But then because your audience, because that's how Trump.
I ran an ad, which I ran an ad a couple weeks ago, and Fox is
ran an ad. Yeah.
Only station in the country that would not accept it. I have a new ad coming out talking.
Oh boy.
frankspeech.com this week. And so far, you haven't heard from Fox. We'll have a big announcement, but every other ABC, CBS, everybody's accepted it except for Fox. And, you know, there's one thing with our First Amendment right of free speech.
That does not give you the right to run your ads on anyone's network.
If you can do two things. You can attack, which I've thanked all the left media, you know, all the hit job medias on me for helping me actually get the word out.
Yeah, dude, I don't think anybody bumped over and watched your shit because I made fun of it. I honestly don't think so. I think the other thing happened. I think you had people watching your shit and they got bored and came over and watched me teabag your event and stuck around on my broadcast. I mean, the numbers point in that direction.
Then you have, when you silence us, when you don't talk about, you know, whether or not we want to take a vaccine or not, or talk about the 2020 election.
Well, no, we talk about whether or not you want to, like, for example, Mike Lindell is a lunatic and he's getting people to take horse paste rather than get vaccinated, that kind of stuff. Like, we talk about it.
Fox doesn't talk about that's terrible to our country.
No, it's terrible.
Hey,
That's the whole thing. Look at this.
Affinity.
Jesus Christ. It's like 2/3 of it. I might have to grab another one. So Dinesh D'Souza, for those of you that don't know, and you shouldn't, has a podcast with 620,000 subscribers on YouTube. Over 500,000 subscribers. And yet, let me check this. I want to let's jump in. I want to see what the viewership is on these kind of things.
Why, General?
Hello. Let's see. In general, so if he puts, this is funny. So Dinesh D'Souza has this page where he puts his stuff up. All of the stuff, these are all his videos recently, his uploads. If he puts a picture of Jen Psaki on here and says something about it, 26,000 views. If he's in the picture, the pictures drop off precipitously. There's a video of Joe Biden, 79,000 on the thumbnail. If someone else is in it with him, it will double his numbers or half theirs, depending on how you want to look at it. Fox News reporter demolishes DOD official. That's a lot of views. Here's a picture of Biden, 39,000 views. But if Dinesh is in the picture of his own show, he has a hard time cracking 11K. And then beyond all that,
I'm really
hello. And on this one, he's got 18,000, which is a big turning point for him because Sebastian Gorka's on. So 19, because I don't know if they air it on OAN when he has somebody on as a guest, but it's interesting how if it wasn't for Sebastian Gorka bringing his hardcore 10,000 to his hardcore 10,000, they wouldn't be that. No, it's kind of stunning.
To welcome to the podcast, Dr. Sebastian Gorka,
who's an oral proctologist. He was a specialist who worked on Trump for several months during his presidency. He was in charge of blowing smoke, apparently.
Is a political strategist. He's a media pundit. My podcast is sponsored by Salem. He's a Salem radio host.
Okay, so you guys can't get real guests, so they bump you together. Okay.
His show is called America First, and I want to mention his latest book, The War for America's Soul.
I'm sure it's selling like hotcakes, in that people might buy it if there's syrup on it.
Seb, what a pleasure to have you on the show. Let me begin by just talking about
Well, it's good to be here in a place where I've tacked up a flag.
This craziness that's going on in Afghanistan.
Oh, it's crazy.
And the sort of pathetic effort on the part of the Biden people to foist the blame on Trump.
I know. It's like Trump made the deal or something. It's weird. Who are these people?
Their argument appears to be Trump was going to withdraw. We actually did withdraw. And
yeah, that's pretty much it. Well said.
So the consequences are nothing more than Trump would have gotten had he actually made the decision to withdraw.
Which he didn't do.
Now,
but I guess we'll never know because he had every opportunity and did not.
Can you take apart this logic? or illogic?
Yeah, please take it apart, because Dinesh is having a hell of a time. He unfortunately, in his description, actually convinced half of his viewers that it's actually the way to go.
Should say.
Absolutely, but first things first, I'm delighted to be on your show. So excited to have you as part of...
Yes, we could tell you used your best camera and your best audio source to deliver. I mean, you're both on the same podcasting network, but you couldn't be bothered to... Yeah, all right.
The Salem stable, and your podcast is superb, and God bless you for everything you've done for this nation as a fellow legal...
Well, I will agree on one thing, going to jail.
Immigrant like myself. Okay, so this is hilarious. I guess the left didn't realize we had an election last November, and I guess they think that Donald Trump is still the president. Let's dissect this piece by piece.
Okay, no one does. As a matter of fact, even Biden said the buck stops with him. He started the deal to get us out, by signing that deal with the Taliban and whatever. But and Biden extended it a few months to get other people out. But at a certain point, we were just propping up a fake government.
For one, this is the deal that Trump signed with the Taliban.
Right, but never had the balls to carry out, I think, is the part that you're probably going to leave off.
We were chained to his deal. Well, that's a lie, because...
that is a lie, because none of Trump's deals mean shit. No one follows through on any of Trump's deals. That's absurd.
Number one, that's not the deal we had.
Yeah, no, I mean...
with the Taliban.
No, the deal we had was to leave in May and leave all the Afghan civs behind.
The President of the United States, my old boss, Donald Trump, would never have pulled out in the midst
at all
of the war fighting season. If you do...
He wanted to pull out in May without any prep, leaving the people behind. He would have left the people behind. He would have left them behind.
Something like that, you do it in winter, when the Khyber Pass, when...
Oh, yeah, totally. And May is basically winter, isn't it? I mean, if you were going to make a deal... So this, by the way, this is actually kind of news, because Gorka did work with Trump, and they did work together, and he obviously they breathe from the same paper bag. He's basically telling you that Trump's May 1st deal was bullshit. It was always bullshit. It was always bullshit, because only an idiot would schedule to pull out of Afghanistan in May. You pull out in the winter. So essentially, Sebastian Gorka is telling everyone that Trump was going to punt again if he had made it. If he had actually won the election, which he didn't. He lost, fair and square.
Doc is snowed in. The militants stay at home, can't fight. So number one, it's a lie. There's no...
So why make the deal for May 1st then? What kind of an idiot makes a deal for May 1st?
We would have pulled out with the capacity to neither support the embassy or the airport, which is
which wouldn't be pulling out, by the way. If we still had an embassy and the Taliban took over, we would be recognizing the Taliban, which we don't do.
Insanity. And second, even if that had been our deal, which it isn't,
we weren't going to follow through on it. I mean,
what?
You don't think we actually... You think read The Art of the Deal. Trump never keeps up his end. That's part of the deal.
Does the Biden administration tell us, oh, and we have to abide by it? The first day in office, we have dozens of executive orders signed.
Yeah, why didn't Biden get rid of this deal the first day he got in? If he had any brains at all, he would get rid... Oh, well, actually, he did. He moved the date. He extended the date a few months, obviously in coordination with the Afghans to some degree, but we did extend it like 4 months, 3.5 months.
Senile husk of an old man
who apparently was able to get out of Afghanistan, and your bloated river corpse of a boss couldn't.
Destroy everything we built in the Trump White House. The XL Keystone pipeline. God.
You mean the Keystone XL pipeline?
With the stroke of a pen, 10,000.
Yeah, it was sweet. Yeah, actually. And Canadian shale oil.
Jobs gone. Or whether it is the 1776 Commission, actually destroyed, dismantled the day of the inauguration.
Yeah, but it didn't actually amount to anything. I mean, let's be completely honest.
Whether it's the sanctions we put in place on Russia to prevent the Nord Stream pipeline being built across Europe.
Which allowed them to circumvent have multiple streams to get their oil into Europe. Now it's all in one area, so it'd be easy to cut off. Yeah.
He could get rid of those deals, but not the imaginary deal that we had with the Taliban. It is a lie. And what we are witnessing isn't just disgusting, it is disgraceful. He's not just blaming
both
us and my old boss. He's blaming the Afghans, and he's blaming our allies. And I was in the British Territorial Army, a fellow member of my...
You mean the British National Guard? Anybody who watches the original British Office... Right.
Regiment, Colonel Tugendhat, stood up in Parliament the day before yesterday as chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, our closest allies, and he called out President Biden and said, a beautiful British understatement, the end of his speech, and let me just share this. He said, to those who have never fought for the banners they stand under, I warn them not to criticize those who have.
Oh, you mean like Trump standing in like Arlington or on the graves of soldiers in Europe and saying what was in it for them, that kind of shit?
He's a man who is
Biden's son served.
War veteran from Afghanistan and Iraq. When our closest allies call out Biden, it's just a disaster, Dinesh.
No, it isn't actually. It's a disaster to stay in.
I mean, think about you have the Bagram Air Force Base, and the United States could have easily used that to bring the Americans who are in Afghanistan to the base, evacuated them first, then
the government collapses because it's obvious we're shutting down our embassy and taking all the Americans out, and we basically had an evacuation order, and that the government at the time that was actually functioning and the military at the time was functioning would have obviously gotten the signal that we're removing not just our military forces but our embassy as well because we don't believe in the government, and then the whole thing would have collapsed. Oh, God, the strategic minds.
Destroyed all the remaining Humvees and stuff that's over there because you don't want to leave it
to the Afghan army
enemy. I mean, it's a very old principle.
That's material stuff for the Afghan army. We leave. Afghan army keeps that stuff. Afghan army surrenders. Afghan army is still in the area. We strafe bomb the area to blow the stuff up while I guess holdout soldiers are in the base fighting for Afghanistan. So the ones that were siding with us who would still be using those materials would get killed first. And then what?
Warfare, that you don't leave stuff behind.
Sure you do. You leave shit behind all the time. When you've got plenty of it, you don't need it anymore. It happens all the time.
Bad guys can then use against you in the future.
Yeah, oh my God, what happens if Al-Qaeda gets a hold of some Humvees and drives to Florida?
And then close the base at the end. It appears that the Biden people did things...
just close it. Apparently...
the opposite order. They closed the base first, and then they scrambled to say, and look at their pathetic statements now, things like, we call upon the Taliban to respect women's rights. We are urging the Taliban to protect the safety of Americans. I mean, what kind of superpower behaves like this?
One that is not in a country. One that is not spending somewhere in the order of $140 to $300 million a day to shore up a government that will not stand on its own. That's what kind. That is no longer going to do that.
A superpower that sadly is being run by people who hate America and...
Yes, only people who love America would want our soldiers and our money to be in Afghanistan for fucking ever.
Are a dangerous cocktail, Dinesh, of arrogance and ignorance. It's one of the most dangerous things to have.
Yeah, that should be the name of this interview. But you guys would have to leg wrestle over who is who.
Price, the State Department spokesperson, Jake Sullivan, this national security advisor whose only job in the past was to be Hillary Clinton's bagman at the State Department, to have these people tell the world, we don't know whether it's 11,000 or 40,000 Americans in America.
We don't in America. It's true.
Afghanistan. We don't know how many tens of thousands of Americans are potential hostages. And then
Are potential hostages. You mean we know how many embassy staff we have. We know how many Americans we have that are serving over there. We know how many Americans have chosen to go over there for their country, but that does not mean we control every American who's in Afghanistan, just say doing business on the side. Like, honestly, and maybe Sebastian knows this number, how many Americans are in Afghanistan right now working in the opium trade? I mean, honestly, how are we going to know how to get them out? Do they have someplace to go? Is there a giant caterpillar blowing messages in letters into the sky, telling them where to go?
Nation with 12 nuclear aircraft carriers, with more special forces than most nations have soldiers, have its chief officer, Mark Milley, and the disgraceful Secretary of Defense say, we can't get everybody out. We'll do as well as we can.
Well, that's because not everybody wants to get out. Some people are hanging around, and if they don't want to leave, that's not on America to get them out. One of the freedoms Americans enjoy is to die in a hostile country while trying to do business there.
Hey, Dinesh, with a far, far smaller contingent of forces, is sending their paratroopers out into the countryside.
Which violates the ceasefire with the Taliban that we're using to get our folks out and other people out without a shot being fired at them. And that's why they got dressed down, because they were,
rescue not only their nationals, Dinesh, to rescue the nationals of the Republic of Ireland as well. It is an embarrassment. And one last thing from a colleague of my wife's at Heritage. Think of this. This year.
Okay, I'm thinking. All right, let's see.
Next month, we'll see the 20th anniversary of September the 11th.
And us being in Afghanistan.
September the 11th was masterminded from the territory of Afghanistan.
Right. And we could have strafe bombed and dealt with that from a distance. We didn't have to invade to do it.
And
Osama bin Laden was in Pakistan when we found him.
And succor of the Taliban who were supporting bin Laden. Now, on the 20th anniversary of September the 11th, the Taliban will be stronger than they have ever been.
Cool. Does your jaw hurt from blowing them?
Control all of Afghanistan. And Dinesh, they're going to have the weapons that you, Debbie, myself paid for.
Are they? I understand that you think that the airplanes and the helicopters that they seized from the Afghan... By the way, all the materials that they're getting in these situations are stuff we gave to the Afghan military. So it's not ours. What we paid for was weapons and vehicles and devices. A lot of it we took out. But the stuff that is there is stuff we gave to the Afghan army. We gave it to them. They, in turn, either surrendered it or actively gave it to the Taliban. So his solution and Dinesh D'Souza's solution is that we should stay in there and continue to give weapons and vehicles to people who will eventually, no matter what we do, no matter when we leave, hand it over to the Taliban. So if you think today's trucks are great, wait till you see the trucks we're going to give them in 5 years.
Stronger than ever. This will be the epicenter of the new global jihadi movement. And that lies on the desk of Joe Biden.
Absolutely. When we come...
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if we're not there forever, again, add them to the side that says Afghanistan, 51st state.
I'm going to pivot a little bit with Seb Gorka to domestic affairs and talk a little bit about political prisoners in this country and
political prisoners. We're going to the January 6th assholes, aren't we?
Role of the media.
Oh, that was it. That was the whole thing. But he had something to say about the this is the Afghan exit plan, which the Biden administration shelved. Now, you know how we talk about a lot how there's always a follow-up to whatever talking point dies the week before. So, you know, at one point it's woke and all that, and the horror of woke, and it trickles down. You could tell when any of the phrases that they're road testing, you could tell when they jump the shark when Trump starts saying them. That's how they've gotten all the way to the top, and they're like, okay, next one. He said it. We'll just set up another one, let it build up, and he says it, and then we start again. And in this particular case, this is the argument, and we saw a little bit of this with Diamond and Silk, talking about how there's there was a plan in place, and they threw it out. This is, I hope there's a bit more of a deep dive in this on that plan, but I have a feeling it's the exact same talking point. Let's find out.
Perhaps over 10,000.
Hold on one second.
There are thousands, perhaps over 10,000. Some estimate somewhere between 10 and 15,000 Americans still in Afghanistan.
Okay, somewhere between 10 and 15,000. This is from yesterday. No, this is from day before yesterday. So somewhere between 10 and 15,000 Americans still in Afghanistan. So let's see. Afghanistan evac numbers. Shall we just see what's here's an Al Jazeera number, since he won't trust anybody else. Let's see. So somewhere like that. Okay. A week after the Taliban takeover, at least 28,000 people have been evacuated from Afghanistan, but tens of thousands more are still waiting. Okay, dismiss. Thousands of people have tried to flee. Okay, this isn't Americans. This is going to be just anybody who wants to get out. So let's take a look at, let's see, Kabul evacuation numbers to fluctuate, Biden says. Number of people evacuated from Kabul will change from day to day, in terms of who they get out, number per day, as opposed to the number overall. Said in a televised address on Sunday, depending on the specific conditions, safety of the day. Earlier Sunday, the White House said U.S. had evacuated 7,800 people from Kabul in the previous 24 hours. Later Sunday evening, the White House added another 5,100 to the day's total evacuees. In all, the U.S. has evacuated 30,300 people in the past week, a White House official said. Since the end of July, about 35,500 people have been evacuated from Kabul. Tens of thousands more await a ride out of Kabul. Any American who wants to go home will get home. We're also moving to work our Afghan allies and other vulnerable Afghans work to get our other vulnerable Afghans out of the country. Biden said none of the planes from Kabul were flying straight to the United States. Instead, he said all flights first land in military bases in a handful of countries where non-U.S. citizens will undergo background checks and security screenings. American officials are confronting what Secretary Anthony Blinken described as an incredibly volatile situation at the airport after the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan a week ago. So in a week since the Taliban took over, 30,000 people, 35,000, including everybody they got out beforehand, which, by the way, the removal of those people was part of the reason why the Taliban went, they're actually leaving, and started moving across the country, because the May 1st deadline had been set.
Think about this.
I am thinking about it. I'm thinking you're a dumbass and you're talking out of your ass and you don't know what's going on and you're making up numbers to make America look bad, and yet you think that's patriotism.
Scandal of this. Think about the fact that we made a pullout. Biden did.
We didn't pull out.
Administration did.
The number of George Carlin quotes that must be flooding to the front of people's heads right now must be extraordinary.
Leaving all those guys behind. And now...
Leaving all those guys behind. So the idea is we left soldiers behind on the battlefield. Most of them, just laying in the desert with a leg blown off. We don't care. That's the image Dinesh D'Souza wants to evoke.
Much weaker position. Being out of the country with the Taliban in control, we have to figure out how to get them out.
Get the people out. I see. We are doing that. 30,000 in a week. That's a pretty strong number. I'm just saying.
And the lackadaisical approach of Biden, by the way.
Yeah. I thought it was wrong of him to whistle during his address and play with a balloon. It was just an optics problem.
Contrast with the British and the French. In fact, they can hardly believe. Normally, the Americans are the best and the first to get Americans out. The British and the French are extracting their citizens, sometimes by sending in paratroopers. They're doing everything they can. We are not doing everything we can. In fact...
Well, if we did everything we could, it would mean blowing up entire cities, one would think. We are not nuking any of the cities. This is true.
outrageously, the State Department was initially, they've now changed it, but they were initially going to charge Americans who boarded vehicles and were taken out of the country, charge them airfare, $2,000 each. And it was only when it was reported that they were like, oh, you know, the optics.
What? Sorry, was that in the deal that Obama or that Trump struck? Right.
This is not too good. We may want to not charge them after all. But
again, where the fuck does that come from? Let's see. Americans charged $2,000 to leave Afghanistan. This is Outkick. U.S. government charged. Let's see. View from the wing. U.S. government, and these are all State Department scraps. Okay. Bill Kabul evacuees. Washington State Department was forced to scrap a widely excoriated plan to bill U.S. citizens $2,000 or more for their evacuation flights from Kabul. The hefty price tag drew social media outrage Thursday after it gained public notice. In these unique circumstances, we have no intention of seeking any reimbursement from those fleeing Afghanistan, State Department Ned Price said in a statement provided to the Post. The cost was publicly posted to a State Department website on Saturday, but went largely unnoticed before it was highlighted by Politico's military-focused newsletter. An unnamed State Department spokesman initially stood by the charge, telling Politico that U.S. law requires that evacuation assistance to private U.S. citizens or third country nationals be provided on a reimbursable basis to the maximum extent practicable. Okay, so hold on. This is where it gets a little foggy. To private U.S. citizens, people who are living in Afghanistan and doing business there. Again, we are now, and I'm sure Dinesh D'Souza will be happy to find out, flying people who were involved in the opium trade out of the country for free because they have an American passport, which I think is great. And then, of course, here it is, third country nationals be provided on a reimbursable basis to the maximum extent practicable. But the cost drew widespread condemnation. New York Republican Rep. Claudia Tenney threatened legislation to prohibit the fees shortly before the State Department changed its stance. Biden created the crisis. Now he wants to charge Americans who are desperately fleeing the Taliban. That's wrong. In one widely circulated tweet, the Heritage Foundation communications director wrote, "Oh, you'd like to escape the Taliban? That'll be 1 month's rent, please." The original plan to bail passengers was published by the State Department's Overseas Security Advisory on August 14th. An advisory said U.S. lawful permanent residents may submit a repatriation assistance request, and the request will be considered depending on availability. These are people who are living there, not serving there. These are people who are in Afghanistan, running a business, living, but not serving on the taxpayer dime. The advisory said repatriation flights are not free, who, by the way, also knew we were leaving. The advisory said repatriation flights are not free, and passengers will be required to sign a promissory loan agreement and may not be eligible to renew their U.S. passports until the loan is repaid. The cost will be may be $2,000 or more per person. Some civilian flights remain available out of Afghanistan. Air India has pledged to continue operations. One-way direct flights to Delhi are available for Sunday for $147. Oops, something went wrong. The flight date. Okay, let's see. Let's try. It's $134 to fly from Kabul to New Delhi. I gotta say, to leave what's effectively a war zone, that's pretty solid. That's a decent price. I'm just gonna say that that shocks me. The flight is $134 to get out of Kabul. But yeah, here we go. You can fly to New Delhi for $134, or you can get on an evacuation flight that we're using to get out our Afghan allies and our personnel for $2,000. It sounds like they're pricing you out of annoying the service people. Why would you? Okay, we'll see. I'm curious about this chat room. Kabul to Honolulu flights are being canceled. They are. Well, I think that's for weather. I think that's weather, honestly.
Because they didn't think it was right. They thought it was right to charge them. They just didn't think it was right that it was disclosed.
Well, no, they actually walked it back after they got some political pushback, but it's weird that it's $134 to fly commercial out of there, but you want the taxpayer to fly soldiers in and C-17s and fly people out in mass who aren't the special immigrant visa folks, who aren't military personnel, who aren't embassy personnel, who are just private American citizens who've been living and working in Afghanistan, who want to flight out of the place and are leaving, but all right. So $8,000 to fly your family to a third country before you come home. These people already have passports, so they don't need to go to Qatar or any place to get vetted. Yeah.
Now, there's a remarkable article here in the National Pulse. I want to credit the writer, Rahim Kassam. And it says that the Trump administration in the State Department had an evacuation plan.
Awesome. And they didn't use it? Why didn't they use it? They had a plan. What was missing? Oh, implementing it.
Or at least an evacuation plan for civilians.
Yeah, not everybody else. I mean, it's just a civilian evacuation plan, but that's, yeah.
A specialized plan that is supervised by a team that knows how to do these extractions.
Sure, yeah. An amazing plan that was never used, and so therefore would have worked perfectly.
This is a team. It's called the
Yes, that's the pricing for real, Tracy. I just looked that up because of the link from that article.
And crisis response team. This is a team that has a lot of experience in this area.
But apparently have lost that experience in the last couple of weeks. Is that what the case?
Because whenever there are crises around the world, let's just say, for example, civil war breaks out in Burundi or breaks out...
Or Afghanistan, one would think.
Somalia, but there are Americans there. How do you get them out? This is a team that specializes in doing that.
Uh-huh.
They...
Yeah, and do they always don't? So basically, how it works? What does it work? They just pull a boat right up to the shore, dump a bunch of tanks. The tanks roll through everybody. Marines jump out. They extract everybody at gunpoint, get them into the tanks and the personnel carriers, and take them back, killing as many bad guys as possible. And they also flick a cigar at a line of gasoline that blows up a truck as they walk away with it blowing up in the back. Is that how it works each time? That's what I mean. I just want to know if Chuck Norris is always there or whether I should wait for another opportunity to get an autograph.
Medical personnel, they have military personnel. They're experts at this. In fact, they have done it on multiple occasions. Now,
yeah, but they weren't asked to do this one. Wonder why.
Apparently, Biden and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and the State Department decided, let's terminate this program. Or at least let's terminate its plan in relation to Afghanistan. We don't care.
Yeah, we don't care if stuff on the ground changes, but that shouldn't matter. These guys wanted to keep with the plan, even if the Taliban had taken over the country way faster than everybody else thought.
Apparently, the termination was signed last month in June, 2 months ago, but it was approved in February. So the reason I think here is the Biden people come in, they go, everything.
They look at May 2nd, and they go, oh shit, the Taliban's moving across the country. They're taking a lot more territory. These soldiers are laying down their weapons. The Afghan military forces aren't fighting, and everything points to the government collapsing. So our original plan for slow walking everyone out isn't going to work.
It is wrong. And so...
Yeah, I think it's a sign of a bad leader to change what they're doing based on reality. I wish we'd put an end to that.
This was a Trump evacuation plan.
Okay, so that's why it sucked. Did Stephen Miller sign off on it? What was the actual plan? Please get to the actual plan. Let's hear it.
Just shelve it. And so they did.
It was shelved.
And Trump himself, by the way, issued a statement.
So wait a minute. It was approved in February, but it was a Trump plan, but they just shelved it because it was a Trump plan. Well, then why did they approve it in February if it was a Trump plan?
Recently, I'm going to read a sentence or two.
Yeah, not too much.
He goes, canceling the successful Trump administration.
Oh, I see. You're reading Trump's statement, not actually stuff from the Trump plan. That seems odd.
Program before the withdrawal that would have helped tens of thousands of Americans reach home is beyond disgraceful. Our withdrawal was...
Well, if it would have, I think is the assumption you're making. I'm not so sure it would have.
Missions-based and perfect. Well, it's probably a little Trumpian exaggeration here.
A little.
Perfect. But nevertheless, it would have been flawlessly executed, very Trumpian, and nobody would have even known we left. So
yeah, that's the chances of that work. If the whole plan was based on no one would have noticed the people had left, then I have a question, and I work with me on this one. Why the fuck were those people there in the first place? If you have people in a country like Afghanistan working at the embassy, working with the government, working with the military, and if they disappeared, no one would notice, what the fuck are they doing in the country? Why are they there? Why are we paying the... All right.
Trump is saying, yeah, we would have done it, but Trump is also saying very clearly, by the way, that I would have done it very differently than Biden did it.
Well, he wouldn't have done it at all. He would have punted. Sebastian Gorka already told us that Trump would have pushed it till the winter at least, and that would have meant pushing it into the next year and the year after that, and it would have been a replay of the last 4 years where he could have gotten us out, but chose not to for some reason.
After all, was like, well, I'm not doing any different than Trump. He wanted to get out. I want to get out. So implying that...
Well, no, we are absolutely adding time to get the special immigrant visa folks out, which he did no planning for.
The only way to get out. Now, here's the point.
Yeah, okay, good. Get to it. Let's see it. Here's the point. We're almost there.
How many Americans are we going to leave behind in Afghanistan?
None, unless they don't want to leave.
Some people have compared Afghanistan to Saigon.
Right. How many Americans did we leave in Saigon?
Airlift, the kind of humiliating airlift following defeat out of that country. But in some ways, if we leave behind, let's say we have 10,000 Americans in Afghanistan. Let's say we even get, which is ambitious, 9,000 of them out. We leave 1,000 behind.
Yeah, in general. Just make up a number. Why not?
Americans. I ask you, how many live Americans?
Sir, I appreciate your argument, but all I need are some bowling shoes. I don't know why you're going on about this. Yeah. 10, 9.5, because I like them to ride tight. You know what I'm saying? Shirt is amazing.
Were left after Vietnam, in Vietnam? Answer, 0. None. Every single American was gotten out. Now, of course, there was a later effort to recover bodies and so on. That's a whole different...
Yeah. I mean, not all of those bodies were dead when we left, but...
I'm talking about getting Americans and American civilians out of the country.
Uh-huh.
So, in that sense, I could say that what's happened in Kabul...
in that sense, you could say anything. You could just make up a number and go, that's horrible. Imagine if we just left... Imagine if we took busloads of children and dumped them in Kabul, wearing, especially all girls. How terrible would that be? Would that be something you would want? Would you support that if Biden did it? Well, Biden's not doing anything to stop it from happening. Biden is not stopping anyone from airlifting school buses into... there's no way it could happen, but that's not the point.
Happened in Afghanistan under Biden is worse than what happened in Saigon, at least as far as the evacuation is concerned.
Yeah? Are we negotiating with the Taliban to get bodies out?
This is something for which a lot of people have a lot of answering to do. And I think the Republicans have been too timid so far in not jumping out front, demanding hearings.
Well, yeah, in fairness to them, they've been signing off on the Afghanistan war for 20 years. So it's a little hard. It's a little politically difficult to bitch about us getting out when you were the one who signed off on us staying. When the guy who was against the surge, who said we should have gotten out a long time ago and was overruled, finally gets in office and went, fuck this, we're gone. It's a little hard for all the people who were, we should get out, but we should, but we'll stay, it's a little, you can understand why they're doing a little bit of juggling.
I think you need to see impeachment resolutions. We need to up the ante on Biden.
Yeah, do it. Just crank it up. Impeach him for getting us out of Afghanistan. While you're at it, why don't you impeach him for getting an infrastructure bill passed? I tell you, we should just name all of the bridges that are made Impeachment Bridge. How Hal, what kind of motorcycle do you ride? I have a Honda Fury. It's pretty awesome.
By the way, the corollary benefit of this is this will not just stop Biden on his tracks in foreign policy. It will probably undermine, weaken, and
the infrastructure of the United States of America. It will stop all the natural workings of government, keep things that are good for the country from actually happening, that kind of stuff. Like all that money that he used from the Rescue Act to get to police departments and stuff, that would stop probably. Would you be for that, Dinesh?
less likely the passage of many of his domestic policy initiatives as well.
I would just 2 words, Dinesh. You wish. I don't know why. I have to say, any of these people think they're actually getting away with any of this bullshit. And I mean, there's a ton of stuff about Afghanistan from the left side of the aisle that says the exact same thing, short of like the kind of, fantasy impeachment bullshit, saying the exact same thing about Biden getting out of Afghanistan. Same thing. I mean, the talking points are unanimous across the board. I want to bring up something though. Let's see, where is it? So many of these, like today, it's really curious. Here you go. This is hold on, Mike. So Mike,
right now, it's
Mike Pompeo was on Maria Bartiromo, her show, anyways. Now, keep in mind, Maria Bartiromo, this is her Sunday show on Fox News. She's normally on Fox Business. She's had a real hard time on her show lately because the economy is recovering. And normally, if you were on an economic show, you'd be very excited. You'd be talking to investors and stuff and going, oh, where's business going to go with this stuff and how much investment will be? And there's going to growth in this sector. And, they might be pulling money out of this area and putting it in this area to see a kind of growth. None of that. They're just like, it's great. God damn it. God, Biden sucks, though. He's going to tax you, probably. He has no plans to, but probably. And now she's going to have Mike Pompeo on, who's with Trump, was the architect of the May 1st date and the exclusion of the Afghan government, which was the death knell for that government in a lot of ways. How much it needed one is questionable. I mean, they were kind of falling apart from the very beginning. But in this particular instance, her having him on, we'll see. I haven't watched this, but we know what's going to be said.
Mike Pompeo, he worked in February 2020, helping President Trump negotiate a conditional peace deal with the Taliban.
Yes, with the Palestinians. Conditional. Conditional is the word that everyone is using on the right now about why you shouldn't have just gone through with Trump's thing. They weren't meeting conditions on the ground. Because the conditions in there, specifically the never letting anybody from Al-Qaeda, for example, into the country ever, and it was not just agreeing to it, but it actually not happening. Since you'd have to prove a negative, you'd have to always stay there lest someone showed up. Well, the minute we leave, you're going to bring in the Al-Qaeda guys, right? So we got to stay there forever. All the conditions set forth in this guaranteed staying. In Pompeo's deal that Trump negotiated with the Taliban to the exclusion of the Afghan government, all the conditions guaranteed that they would never be met.
And to withdraw from Afghanistan. The Secretary...
By the way, Pompeo's losing weight because he's running for president. Let's be abundantly clear. That's why.
It was a pleasure to see you. Thanks very much for being here this morning. Give us your reaction in terms of the pullout.
Ew.
Maria, thanks for having me on. Look, we were determined to get this right. There were 2 things that President Trump wanted to do. Everyone knows that President Trump wanted to get our young men and women back home. We began the march towards doing that, but we always knew
the march towards doing that.
Conditions had to be right to
really, because I heard it was May.
We had to have the situation on the ground right to do that.
Look, guys, the situation on the ground had to be right. That doesn't sound anything like the rhetoric that has kept us in Afghanistan for 20 fucking years.
Administration just willy-nilly whipped the military out of there, leaving civilians, equipment, all
Excuse me, that's general willy-nilly to you?
things behind. We drew down from 15,000 or just over that to about 2,500, and we hit.
Well, you went up from 8,000 in Obama to 15,000 under Trump, and then you drew down. It's basically giving you room to draw down when you wanted to.
We had kept the order that had been there, right? We didn't have this chaos. All the while, we took out 12,500 soldiers. When we got to that point, we went back. We looked at the conditions. We wanted to get those last numbers out, but
but you never did.
Found the conditions right to do so.
We never found the conditions right to do so.
And so we continued to pound the Taliban when they violated the agreement. Right?
And then you pounded them, and then you pull out. And then you pound them, and you pull out again. This is so...
Moved on a checkpoint or moved in a place that they weren't permitted to. We used American power and made clear to the Taliban that there would be real consequences.
Yeah, we're really going to put soldiers in harm's way. Every time you fuck with us, we're going to send more soldiers down where you can shoot them or blow their legs off.
What happened here, Maria, is you had a leader who was unprepared to do that. When the Taliban pushed on the Trump administration, we pushed back even harder and imposed.
And by pushing back even harder, we meant stayed.
Costs on them. When the Taliban pushed on the Biden administration, they withdrew to a commercial airport that in no way has the capacity to get our people out of there with the speed and alacrity that needs to happen to keep.
Sorry, are they supposed to take off C-17s from a street in downtown Kabul? I don't know the geography of Kabul that often. Are there roads that wide?
This is an incompetent method of getting our folks out. It presents
really because compared to not getting them out, it is 100% competent. You see what I mean? You can't stand on an archery range and say every arrow you never fired would have hit the bullseye. And anybody who even fires and doesn't hit the bullseye is worse than what you would have done if you ever bothered to even pick up the bow in the first place. That's what this is. That's what we keep seeing from these assholes. If we'd ever done it, it'd have been done perfectly. But we never did it, so the guy that did it is always going to carry the weight of having done it. This is so stupid.
No risk. I pray we get them all home. But I'm watching today, even now, they haven't yet organized in a way to push American power out in a way to make sure we can get Americans out of the country.
Push American power out in a way, which means take by force more of the city rather than just have people getting through the checkpoints as they are. And then if they aren't being removed, picking them up someplace else because they can't get through checkpoints, which is what we're doing right now too. Here's the thing. It's not a removal unless it's a macho removal. Unless there's trucks rolling through town, opening fire on anybody who looks like Taliban. And even if it's like Afghan soldiers who are now wearing civilian clothes, who have brought the weapons that they have out onto the street to open up roads against the Taliban in certain areas, which is what's going to happen after we go, by the way. There's a civil war it's brewing and it will happen. But we're going to roll through there in trucks and just shoot anybody who looks sketchy to us.
And things are getting dangerous and more severe by the minute.
Are they? Are they, though? Are they getting more dangerous and more severe by the second? Oh, maybe because America's leaving, and without us there, it reverts back to what it is.
The Washington Post is reporting that those people going to the airport are getting beaten up, and there were 7 Afghan civilians killed outside the Kabul airport.
Right. I'm sure all 7 of those would have been welcomed into any city in Texas. Are you going to, Maria, where all those people clamoring outside? I mean, obviously there's a crush happening there. At what point do we just allow everybody who's crushing to get into the airport onto our planes? By the way, that was no word on whether or not that was on the civilian side or our side or between the crush of the two. The Taliban is sort of policing the civilian side of the airport.
Biden set to update on evacuations later today. Mr. Secretary, does Joe Biden understand what has taken place here? I mean, I don't.
This has to be the narrative or whatever. Does he even understand how, like, does he have the brains to even figure this out? Because you had the brains to figure it out. And what resulted in was that nothing changed in 4 years and you still fucking stayed. Nothing. There is nothing different in the Afghan military or in the Afghan government that was different in July of this year or July of last year or the year before or the year before or the year before. Nothing. There was no point where, like, okay, 3 more weeks and they're going to stand up on their own. 3 more weeks and they'll be able to handle it. 3 more weeks and they won't turn their country over to the Taliban as soon as we start to pack our shit. It's perpetual for fucking ever.
Even understand why you would close the Bagram Airbase before getting all of your civilians out.
Well, I must say, given what he's told America and what we can see happening on the ground and the massive disconnect between those two, it certainly doesn't appear that he understands, or perhaps less, he's just not that interested. He's more focused on spending $3.5 trillion or creating diversity inside of our military.
Yeah, can you imagine having a diverse military? What a horrifying notion. Next thing you know, we'll have black people and white people serving shoulder to shoulder. Ew. You tell them, Mike.
Possible to explain how the President of the United States can go on TV and tell people that not only are people able to travel safely to the airport, when we can clearly see that that's not the case, but he told the world that our allies weren't concerned about what we were doing. And you need only go to the British Parliament or listen to Macron or Merkel. All of them are concerned that they no longer control.
No, they're addressing the concerns of the people in their parliament that want to stay as well. And you know what? They're welcome to. There is nothing stopping the British, the French, and the Germans from filling the gap that we left. 2,500 of our people, all 3 of them could have an embassy each, of equal size to ours, more than likely. If the French or the Germans had requested to have the Bagram Air Force Base or any of the other ones after we left, they'd have had it. They would have gotten it. We would have said, abso-fucking-lutely. We're getting out, but if you guys want to take over this base, train the military there and house your soldiers there, knock yourself the fuck out. None of them did. All of them are just mad that we started packing up and leaving, and they were still there.
America as a partner and ally. So there is a deep disconnection between what President Biden has told the American people and what they can all see with their own eyes to be true. This is dangerous. We're just a few
It's Afghanistan.
months into this administration.
And we're already getting out of Afghanistan. Again, I will stand by this as well. Wait till they shut Guantanamo.
Leadership has already walked off the stage. Maria, we've talked about this before, but President Biden talks about that America is back. It looks like we're back. It looks like we're back to Barack Obama, America apologizing, American weakness, and our adversary.
Sorry, Obama stayed in too. Biden was the one saying we should leave. Such strong support, level 2 complete. Hey, thanks for the hype train, guys. I appreciate it. By the way, don't forget to give a like and a subscribe and a thumbs up, and subscribe on Twitch, twitch.tv/Hal Sparks. Guys, since we crossed that 20,000 threshold on YouTube, we've got 2,000 new subscribers, like in less than a week. It's really impressive. So I want to thank everybody, welcome everybody who's a new subscriber, a new viewer, who may not have discovered the show last year when we were all humping through the pandemic together. I appreciate you guys being here. It's a great time. We have fun.
Not fearing us at all.
Hal first put Trump in Gitmo and then locked the door. Nope. Just shutting the thing down. The American judicial system can handle the likes of the ISIS and Al-Qaeda people that are in Gitmo, and it can handle Trump.
It's not trusting us.
And we have to point out that many of the people on Biden's team, whether it be national security or in the State Department, were in fact in the Obama White House.
Right. And some of them were arguing to get the fuck out too. And he kept those people, and the people who were like, I think we should stay. He was like, thanks for serving. Appreciate it. Bye. Yeah. And sorry, tell me about all the people who were in Trump's cabinet that he actually still talks to. Beyond Biden bringing people back that he liked working with for 8 years, Obama was reelected. Something Trump won't know anything about. But Biden brought back some of those people because they're good at their job and they're effective and he actually knows them. Whereas Trump was like, I know all the best people. They're the best people ever. Best people ever. And now he won't talk to any of them. Probably a Democrat. Just got me coffee.
How capable are his defense and foreign policy teams in your...
Well, we're leaving. I would put that in their column.
Including your successor, Tony Blinken. We know that there was a memo revealed this past week, indicating that Joe Biden was warned that this would happen this way. And he
went, so what? It's going to happen no matter what happens. It's going to turn out this way no matter when we leave. We got to go.
Ignored the warnings.
Yes, he ignored the warnings from some people and heeded the warnings from others. It's called making a decision, something Trump never did.
Well, there's no doubt it's the same team that was there for 8 years, largely. They've all moved
largely
up one slot or two slots, but it's largely the same cast of characters with the same worldview.
Really? Because they stayed in when Obama was president and Biden got them out. That same cast of characters? Really?
This is a worldview that says America is the problem set. It's a worldview that says that these details, these important details, right? Closing Bagram, the major airflow hub for American forces and American equipment in and out of the country. And
after we'd gotten out
the military before this.
Sorry, can I, if I may, I know this is kind of an interesting detail because they throw these around like Bagram is the base we're looking at or is somewhere. Okay, so, base. Let's see. So let me show you where. Here we go. So, let's see. Bombing around. This will be an uncomfortable piece of news for them. But this is kind of a slapdash thing. This is Kabul right here. Okay. Here's Jalalabad. A lot of folks from here going to here. This is Bagram. We had two major military areas here. The airport they're using to get everybody out of Kabul is because that's where the fucking embassy is. We pack these guys up. We pack these guys up. We pack these guys over here up. We got them out of the country. A lot of the folks in these cities over here went into Iran or made their way to Kabul. A lot of people in Jalalabad hopped over here and went to Pakistan or escaped north. Same thing with Kandahar, or they made their way north to Kabul. Bagram is an all-military thing. We're not going to let every civilian who wants to fly out go there. That's ridiculous. And the main idea was we're going to fly everybody because this is the one with proximity. Why the fuck would you shut down and you've got that airfield. It's the closest one. It's the safest one to get people to because getting them to the airport is way different than trying to get them, say, it's the difference from you're in Los Angeles, evacuating people out of Los Angeles from LAX versus the San Diego airport. You're in New York and you can use JFK and LaGuardia, or you can use Philly International to extract everybody from Manhattan. Are you out of your fucking mind? But they're counting on everybody not looking at a map and even seeing where the hell it is. So there we go. That's the base, by the way, from the air. Bagram fire and EMS picture. Let's go. Here we go. That's the area right here. Here's Kabul. This distance. Let me see. Hold on one second. Bagram Air Force, but distance to Kabul. Let's see if that comes up on here. Let's see. Okay, so it's an hour and 20 minutes outside the city, if traffic's good. Yeah, here you go. What's the difference from distance from Kabul to there? Don't allow. Quit it. Just hold on. Kabul. Okay. So let's go back to, don't allow, go back. What's the difference of Kabul, downtown Kabul to Kabul airport? Now, never mind the fact that, like, what area is seized. So an hour and 20 minutes, if traffic's good, if there are no checkpoints to go through, if there's no stops along the way or hostile troops or anyone, it's an hour away, right, by desert road. The airport from downtown is 4 goddamn minutes away. 4. It's a kilometer. You could fucking walk it, which is why people are doing it. Why did we shut down Bagram? Because we're getting the fuck out. We didn't shut it down, by the way. We handed it over. We left our part of it. That there was nothing stopping the Afghan military from taking over Bagram.
Millions got out, and not working with friends and partners to make sure this was coordinated. And most
the problem we had was everybody we coordinated with either wasn't coming or was giving information away.
Importantly, not validating that the conditions on the ground
that would have kept us there forever
were sufficient to actually execute this stage of the withdrawal.
The stage of the withdrawal. That's a good way of putting it. You mean leaving?
Those are demonstrably geopolitical errors, tactical errors that this administration has made. They've not yet moved to fix them. I pray that we get this right. It's important not only for the people of Afghanistan and the Americans who are trapped there, but as important as
Hi. Hello. Welcome.
Putin and Xi Jinping.
You do know that's the dangerous side, right? Is that hot on your fingers?
And Chairman Kim stare at the United States today. They're watching.
Yeah, Chairman Kim is staring at the United States while his fucking country is starving, going, holy shit, can you imagine what the Americans could do with the money they're not spending every single day in Afghanistan? $140 million today and tomorrow and the day after that and every day in September and every day in October and every day in December and every day next January. And on and on. Yes, the North Koreans. By the way, shall we just check in on our friend? Let's see, North Korea. Let's see. Should we just go to food shortage? Just look that up. This will make them. This will be something. Let's see. This is Nikkei. So there, yeah, North Korea is, Kim Jong-un is laughing at us right now, guys. He's laughing at us. North Korean food shortage turns into new Asian humanitarian crisis. Regime clamps down on hoarding as rationing system on verge of collapse. Yeah, he's having an old belly rub and a knee slap. He's chuckling like crazy if he's well enough to actually walk the fuck around. North Korea's food shortages have reached crisis levels and inequalities have sharply widened. Ever since the COVID-19 pandemic forced the country to close its borders in January last year, the reclusive nation will be short about 860,000 tons of food this year. But he's kidding. Oh man, it's a rope-a-dope. He's just fucking with us. Let's see. How much food for, let's see, I'll just go easy on him. $140 million. Let's see. Department's Veterans Affairs. Food value. Here you go. Okay. Total of food value of USDA food for audits revised. Let's see. We're gonna. Let's see. Let's see. Food price per pound. Let's see. In general, let's see, June 20, let's see, $1. So let's just say in bread, $1.49. So that's, yeah, what do you think? Here, I'll slide this over so you can look at it. Average retail food and energy prices. What do you think in one day's spending? One day of what we spend in Afghanistan, North Korea could do with the food equivalent therein. And this is retail. Let's see. What's a good price for meat per pound? That is $1.64 per pound. So you're talking about 100 million pounds, about 98 million pounds of meat for ground beef. We could send, just so you know, 860 tons of food they're going to be short this year alone. But they're laughing at us. They're and wait a minute, sorry. Putin's laughing at us too. Let's see, Putin health concerns. Putin's got, I mean, maybe he's right. Let's see. This is 2020. This is November 6th, 2020. This is a couple days afterwards. He's probably laughing about this too. Kremlin denies reports Putin is ill, planning to resign. The denial amounted to a rare statement about the 68-year-old autocrat's physical health following a report from a British tabloid. Let's see. A report from The Sun on Thursday suggested, here it is. Putin to quit, Vladimir, 68, stepping down as Russia's president early next year as he fears he has Parkinson's. He's cracking up about this whole thing. Let's see. How about, Three Gorges. Whoops. Hold on one second. I just want to see how much, collapse. I mean, this is from, last year, but I mean, I'm sure, and this is from a site even Pompeo-like. This is from the Heritage Foundation. What the potential crisis on the Yangtze means for China and the world. That's the Three Gorges Dam. That's falling apart. But I mean, they're all laughing at Biden right now. As we get out of Afghanistan and stop paying $140 million to $300 million a day.
They're watching America destroy its alliances, and this presents a...
Yeah, we're never going to talk to England, France, and Germany again until the G7.
risk to the American people right here at home.
Exactly. And
exactly. It's true.
Messages have been incredibly dangerous. Last week, President Biden told the Americans in Afghanistan to get to the airport.
Right. As opposed to?
So that the U.S. can get them home. And then this weekend, we were told, don't go to the airport.
Well, yeah, because at that point, by that time, there'd been a crush of people going to the civilian side. And so they were taking people out another way, or they were saying shelter in place and we'll get you there.
Too dangerous.
It's almost as if the facts on the ground's changed. The kind of thing that never happens in an air-conditioned studio.
Terrorists right outside the airport. The gates are locked. They're confiscating passports. What's going on? Should Americans go to the airport or not go to the airport?
Well, I must say, I don't have accurate situational knowledge of what's on the ground, although I've heard...
That shouldn't stop you from talking about it, though.
Some folks in the region.
Thanks, Mark.
It certainly sounds like passage to that airport is very dangerous today. America needs to work.
Really? It sounds like they're in like Afghanistan or some shit.
Cure that, to reduce that risk. There are lots of ways to do that. How about this, Maria, for a starting point? Make very clear that you're not going to beg the Taliban. You're not going to implore.
Yeah, they're not begging or imploring. They're military intelligence and military people from our forces in contact with the Taliban going, don't fuck around with our people. We're not going to fire on you. You don't fire on us. But they're not going, please, guys, please. Like, what do you think of of our military that you think that's how the conversations are going?
You're not going to plead. You're not going to pay the Taliban. If Americans are harmed as they move to the airport, you're going to go and crush them.
Just like Trump, he said he's going to refuse to pay them if they break the deal.
You're going to put real costs.
Taliban, if you turn in shoddy work on any of our golf courses.
This is the model that the Trump administration had adopted. And each time we did that, we got a tactical response from the Taliban that respected the United States of America.
Well, right now they're not firing on people, so are they getting a tactical response that shows they respect it?
They understood that there were things that they would not be permitted to do.
Right, which they're not doing.
Importantly, harming Americans. Remember this.
Right, which they're not doing.
From the time we began our peace and reconciliation effort, our conversations.
Our peace and reconciliation, which didn't involve the Afghan government, but whatever.
We signed that deal in February 2020. Not a single American was attacked by the Taliban in a serious way, and there wasn't a single American killed. That was because
you promised to get us out by May 1st. They want you to leave. They have operational control over their soldiers.
We were going to go to court to enforce this document.
Court? Oh my God. I'm sorry. Were you going to sue Dominion and then Dominion would sue the Taliban?
It was because we demonstrated American resolve and power. And when you don't
resolve to leave May 1st with no plan.
This is the kind of thing, this chaos that you're seeing today in Afghanistan is precisely what ensues when America fails to leave.
When America leaves?
So they've already broken whatever agreement was made in Doha. I'm talking about the Taliban. I mean, was this a coup?
They have. Was this a coup?
You know, between the folks in Afghanistan, right? President Ghani was corrupt himself. The leaders in the other regions, we were talking to all of them. Remember, we didn't just sign an agreement with the Taliban. We had one with the Afghan government, too. We were talking to folks in the north and folks in the west.
Yeah, and what were you telling them? We're out. So, and if you helped us, you're on your own.
This country's been in mess for an awfully long time. Its elections have been incredibly fraught.
So, but we should stay there longer and hold it up. Like,
this is a country that has had political uncertainty for an awfully long time.
So why are we staying? What is the argument there? Like, there aren't countries with violence and political instability all over the world? Are we invading all of those? Why aren't we in Yemen? Why don't we have bases in Yemen? Why have we not taken over the Congo?
Mission set was very clear, Maria. Our mission set was to make sure that we were able to get our young men and women home, and second, to make sure that we were never attacked from this place again. And we worked diligently to make sure that as we saw the conditions on the ground,
which is we're going to stay in to make sure you never attack us again, which is not a condition to leave.
Withdrew in a way that provided maximal certainty that we would never be attacked from this place.
Maximal certainty. In example, none.
And this chaos you're seeing today, Maria, I think this drastically increases the likelihood that someday some ungoverned space in Afghanistan will lead to an attack, maybe not on America, but on American interests somewhere in the world.
Oh, you mean like oil companies or something like that? And secondly, how is that different with what you agreed to it with the Taliban?
Right. And they have the
right
now to do it. Mr. Secretary, I want to
have the what? The money?
The world.
Right. And they have the weaponry now to do it.
The weaponry. Yeah. The one thing stopping them was not having Humvees.
Mr. Secretary, I want
to... And busted helicopters.
Sure do.
And I want to get back and come back and talk about something you touched on, and that is the longer term consequences of all of this.
Of all of this. You mean all of this getting the fuck out of Afghanistan? That part? The consequences of not staying forever.
And what actions the U.S. military need to take now to prevent the Taliban from driving Afghanistan further into a terrorism state. We'll be right back.
Further into a terrorism state. The assumption is that it is in a, quote, terrorism state,
Secretary,
whatever the fuck that means, and that somehow we won't be able to stop them if they start terrorism stating. God damn, this is dumb. Everybody, every single one of these assholes All right, it's 2 minutes to 5, and so I'm going to beg out early if you guys don't mind, because I have a show tonight. I also have a show Wednesday. That live show, the regular show, will be done from LA on Wednesday. So, and I'm going to drive in after tomorrow night's show, so we should be able to pull it off with, minimal interruptions. Fingers crossed. We hope. We'll see. But I will try. Thank you. Don't forget flapperscomedy.com. Thanks Can't Stop Lying for putting the chat room in there. The link in the chat room, and you guys can join me for that one. And of course, I will be live streaming on my YouTube channel, the one on Wednesday as well. So but it will be a different show tonight than it is on Wednesday, because I'm that prolific a writer. That's right. I don't just do the whole shit, the same thing every time. I mean, come on. It's called wit, and it's spontaneous, and it happens. Thanks for understanding when I sped through today, even though it was a solid 2 hours, like normal, but it just seems like it zipped by. Largely because we spent the first 10 minutes just getting yelled at by Diamond and Silk, apparently. And I'm not surprised that their reaction is that way.
5 eggs.
But you should be as much as anybody else. And I will see you guys tomorrow at the regular time as well. If you're just coming to watch the stream, if you're new to the stream, welcome. Glad you could join us. Thanks for subscribing. I'm glad you're here. And don't forget to check out all the clips from the show that we cut down into smaller pieces and share those around, because that helps the show spread as well. A couple people have been doing that on Twitter, and I can't thank you enough for that. How you did a great job last Saturday. Oh, thanks very much. That was a tooth pull and a full day too. That was radio show in the morning and then live stream at night with the whole Trump gaggle in Cullman, Alabama. And yeah, so anyways, I appreciate it. I will see you guys later. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Okay, bye.